The background to this story begins in the 1800s in northwestern Vermont. During that time, a large migration of Irish took place to the area. At first, it was north from Canada, and then during the famine era, it was from the east, from ports like Boston. When the Irish arrived, they worked building the railroad, and they also worked on farms and in the factories that were in the area. As they made money, they bought plots of land, they built churches and communities, and even sent money back home for family to join them in the New World. And when that family came, they brought their spirits with them. And that is how the Irish Fiordorca arrived in Vermont. Now, in the present day, our story starts on a mountainside in the wilderness of Vermont, on a gravel road, far from any paved road and far from any town. It's early in the evening and it's dark out, and my brother and my nephew's girlfriend are getting in a car to go to town to do some shopping. Now, there seems to be a problem with the car because my nephew's girlfriend's revving the engine, but it's not moving. So she shifts the car from park into drive, reverse, and neutral, back and forth, and the car is not moving. She's turning the wheel back and forth. Nothing's happening. My brother starts joking around saying, well, it's Bigfoot. She tells him to shut up. She tells him to shut up because she's frustrated, but also she knows the strange things always happen when my brother's around. And this is going on for a few minutes. No matter what gear she puts the car in, and no matter how much she turns the steering wheel, the car won't move even though she's revving the engine. And that's when they feel it. It feels as if someone's pressing down on the rear bumper. And my brother says it's a demon. Now, my nephew's girlfriend's panicking. She wants to get out of there. She's revving the engine, and my nephew hears that from upstairs in the house. So he's looking out the window and he's wondering, well, what's wrong? Why haven't they left yet? He hears the car revving and he's wondering, why is my uncle in the back of the car? He says, oh, well, he goes, they'll figure it out. He goes back to whatever he was doing in the house. Now, downstairs in the car, there's panic because the car is not moving. Suddenly, the car catches and lurches forward. And as it's moving out the driveway, my brother looks off to a side and he sees a dark figure along the side of the driveway, right next to a path leading back into the woods. And with that, my nephew's girlfriend speeds off up the gravel road towards town. And my nephew, he's watching her go from the window. He sees the lights drive off into the woods. And at the end of the driveway, there is an overhead light. And silhouetted against that light, my nephew sees a man in a wide brimmed hat and a long coat. And he's just standing there. That freaked my nephew out. He said he couldn't make out any features on the individual's face. He just seemed to be very tall and thin. He could tell he was wearing a long coat. You could make out some features on the coat, some features on the hat, but nothing of his face. No matter how he looked, it always seemed like the features of his face were just like he was just missing them. So my nephew ran throughout the house, turned all the lights on, locked the door, and got his rifle. And he sat there in a chair waiting for an attack. Now, in the meantime, that figure just looked back in the house, completely silhouetted against the backdrop of that overhead streetlight. And he just sat and he watched. Now, my nephew was getting worried, wondering if there was going to be an attack on the house, because as I said, strange things always occurred there. My nephew said it was about an hour went by, and he heard the sound of his girlfriend's car coming up the road, and then he saw the lights, and he saw the lights pull in the driveway, and with that, that figure was no longer there. My nephew felt as if he literally dodged a bullet that night. Now, when I heard this story from my nephew, I sent him a picture of the Irish Fiordorca. And when he got it, he was shocked because he said that's exactly what it looked like. He said he actually got chills down his spine and goosebumps when he saw the picture. Now, that is how the Irish immigration into that area and what happened that night tie into one another. Because from my perspective, an Irish Fiordorca was lurking in the shadows of Vermont, of northern Vermont, in the wilderness. And when a family of Irish ancestry crossed his path, he stepped out of those shadows to haunt them, to intimidate them, and to terrorize them. So salt your doors and don't speak ill of the Fiordorca, or you may find that your own car revs but doesn't go anywhere. And you may look out your window and see a shadow looking back at you from your own driveway. Or there may be a knock on the door to remind you who exactly is in charge.